Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video. And today I'm going to show you how I made a fun little card with the Grace's Garden stamp set and the coordinating garden gateway dies. And I haven't played with this set for a little while, but I was, messing around wanting to use some of the Ombre Designer Series paper and thought that this might be a really good project to use it with. So it's a fun little stamp set, and if you don't have it, you definitely need to get it. It's got coordinating dies that go with it too. This is from the annual catalog. Hey, Bree and Karen, thanks for hopping in today. I appreciate you being here. And so again, it's the Grace's Garden stamp set, and I know that there's a terrible glare on the video with all these darn lights that I have on, and I still get shadows. Again, this is the stamp set. It's got some sweet sentiments in it, and I love the images. And you know me, I love, love, love anything that's got coordinating dies with it. So these are the Garden Gateway dies, and they coordinate with the stamp set. Now there are a couple of dies here that are just more accessory pieces and don't necessarily coordinate with stamped images. So we've got a couple of the little branches here, as well as this really cool arched gate door, I guess it is. And then you can cut out, if you want to do like a peek through onto your card front, or something on the background of the card, you can do a little look through the gate. So it's a very cute stamp set and a very good, like I said, good set of dies. So if you don't have this, you definitely need to get it. Again, it's from the annual catalog, so go take a peek for Grace's Garden and the Garden Gateway dies. So and I guess there are some little flower images too that are die cuts that aren't stamped images, but the rest of them are. There's a kitty and a bird, fence, then this is one of the floral images, this is another piece of fence, and then floral image, and then this is the sort of viney looking floral image. So, all right, let's set those aside and we will get going. Hey, Catherine and Barbara and Karen, thanks so much for joining today. And that's about all that I used on the card, was really that one stamp set, some of the Ombre Designer Series paper, and I'm probably saying it wrong. I know there are like 50 million ways to pronounce it. I say it Ombre because that's what it looks like to me. So, all right, a couple things before we get going. The Hey Chick and Hey Birthday Chick stamp set bundles are now available from Stampin' Up. If you don't have them, you need them. So this is the old original Hey Chick stamp set from Celebration a couple of years ago. They have brought out dies that coordinate with it. So if you still have the stamp set, you don't have to get the bundle together. You can just get the dies. It's the exact same stamp set. Otherwise, it is available as a bundle as well. And then the Hey Birthday Chick bundle, this stamp set, the Hey Birthday Chick, is in the mini catalog, the January to June mini catalog, and they have got some coordinating dies with it. So again, you can purchase these as a bundle or individually if you already have the stamp set. These are going to be available through June 30th, so definitely get on ordering them soon. Order them during Celebration too. So, hey Ingrid, I'm glad that you're joining, and Jillian and Melanie. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody else. Need to create with the chickens. They're fun, definitely fun. So, all right, so Stampin' Up! Celebration is almost over, you guys. So if you haven't ordered or haven't joined, get on it. Celebration ends on Sunday, and don't wait till the last second, because that's always when we have computer issues. So make sure that you are getting in early. If you're wanting to join, we would love for you to join our team. We've got a fun group who really just likes to stamp and hang out and chat and have a good time doing it. So if you're interested in joining, Stampin' Up! Is giving an awesome set of Designer Series paper with your kit for free. It's $57.50 worth of paper. It is 5 packs of the 6x6 designer paper, and it's from the upcoming annual catalog. So you're going to be ahead of the game when the annual catalog comes out in just, gosh, it's not very far away. In May 4th, I think it is, annual catalog comes out for ordering, so you'll be ahead of the game because you'll have all that paper already. So if you have questions about joining, definitely drop me a note, give me a call, send me a text, whatever. I would be happy to chat with you more about it. And then just wanted to remind you, the Butterfly Bouquet bundle and coordinating products are going to be available starting on March 2nd. So yay. If you join as a demonstrator right now, you can actually add them as part of your starter kit, or you can order them after you become a demonstrator. They are a demonstrator pre-order item right now. So just to, one other reason, like you needed another reason to join, but if you do, definitely think about getting these because they're beautiful. So it's a stamp set bundle. It's got, it's a big, huge oversized background stamp that stamps 6 butterflies, and then there are all the coordinating dies with it. This cuts all 6 butterflies out in one swing, so this is one large die, and then there are individual ones that are more detailed dies, as well as some little accessory pieces for that as well. And then we've got some designer series paper and natural touch specialty paper. This is a wood grain look paper, and this die actually coordinates with the butterflies in this paper, so you can lay the die on top of the paper and cut it all out in one swing too, so it's awesome. So again, the items are all available individually starting on March 2nd, or you can get them as one big bundle as well. Let me know if you have questions about that. I have it linked up on the sidebar of my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com, so you can see the details out there. If you need to take a look. Goodness. Okay, hey Catherine. Yes, and the butterfly, it is amazing. You definitely need it. Everybody needs it. It's so, so pretty. All right, I've done a few things ahead of time. Again, this is the Oh So Ombre Designer Series paper, which is a celebration item, so make sure that you're getting your orders put in and get a couple extra packs of this because it's really awesome, and I know you'll love it as much as I do. So I've got a couple pieces here. I've got a piece of basic white cardstock that's cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I have 2 pieces of the Ombre Designer Series paper, and they're 2 different pieces. I cut this one to 2 1/2 by 3 7/8, and this one is 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. So all the details will be posted on my blog tomorrow. Definitely go take a peek at it, which again is stampwithamyk.com. And I will be posting all the details out there tomorrow on it. So all the cardstock cuts and everything will be listed out there. So no need to, come on, Amy, get her fingers working. There we go. So no need to worry about writing down the sizes or trying to figure out which one was the 5/8 and which one was the 3/8 and whatever, or 1/2 inch. So anyway, 2 1/2 by 3 7/8 and 2 5/8 by 3 7/8, and it really doesn't matter very much with these 2 pieces of paper which one is which. I just happened to cut the sky one a little bit more longer than the grass one, but again, either way, we'll work with this one because it's really hidden behind all the die cuts anyway, where the 2 pieces of paper meet. So it doesn't need to be exact, just somewhere in that general ballpark of, cover half the paper. So, all right, I'm going to try to get them matched up over on the side and try to get it fairly even here. All right, I think we got it put together. So that is it. Just use the little Stampin' seal for the background. Now I'm going to grab my Stamparatus, which I probably should have done this before I adhered it, but I'll hold my breath a little bit and hope that I got everything put in the right place. I had it all set up and then I forgot what I was doing. So I do tend to use my Stamparatus when I am stamping on background papers like this, where it's sort of you've got one shot to get it right type thing. Otherwise you're starting over with a new piece of paper. So that's usually how I do my, when I'm stamping directly on designer series paper, and especially when I've got it all adhered together, I bring out my Stamparatus and use that to help me with positioning and to make sure that everything gets stamped the right way and stamped nicely. One bonus of obviously the Stamparatus is you can always restamp it if you don't get a perfect image the first time. So I've got Bermuda Bay ink. I'm inking up the Sentiment from Grace's Garden stamp set, and just going to give it a good press here and keep my fingers crossed that we did it all well, and we don't have to restamp it, but if we do, we have got, looks like we probably will need to restamp it just a little bit. It didn't stamp as well as I would like it to on the upper part, so I'm going to go ahead and re-ink it and stamp it again and hope that I haven't moved anything. All right, that time we got a good stamp on it. So again, that's the one really nice thing about using your Stamparatus, especially when you're stamping on, the one shot and done type papers. It's good to get out your Stamparatus and make sure that you've got that all ready to go, and you can restamp it if you get a boo-boo like I just did. All right, I have done a bunch of the die cutting ahead of time because, again, I know it's boring and not very much fun to sit and watch somebody die cut things over and over again. So I've cut the fence pieces out. I stamped them in basic gray ink. You know what? I have my ink pad open over here. That's just asking to put your fingers in it. So, all right, so I've stamped these in basic gray ink and on basic white cardstock, and I'm just going to use a little Stampin' seal to adhere the die cuts to the card front, and I'm going to try to get it somewhat centered. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect because it's all going to be sort of hidden by the die cuts and all that sort of thing that I'm laying over the top of it, so it doesn't need to be exact in any, exactly centered or anything like that. All right, again, I've got the little fence post here, and the main thing I wanted to worry about is try to get it somewhat even. Looks like I've got a little goober of glue over there, but that's okay. It'll be covered up by the flower. I'm going to stick over the top of it, but I wanted to get it somewhat even so that it looks like it's one continuous fence, as opposed to, you know, sticking it way up in the air or something odd like that. And then I'm going to take the other little fence image and stick it over here on this side. Hopefully I've got it centered and the right gap between to cover up with all my flower images. If not, we may have to do a little creative die cutting. All right, so we've got the background done. I did add a little bit of color to the grass with the Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blends marker. And again, it's not really like some fantastical job of coloring that I've done. Just basically did a couple little dashes of ink over the top of the basic gray stamped image that's already there. All right, moving on to the other die cuts. Again, I stamped and die cut these ahead of time. They're all stamped in basic gray ink, and we're just going to do a little quick coloring on them. I'm going to start again with my Granny Apple Green ink on the floral images. And I'm not coloring these, as you can tell, terribly neatly. I just kind of want to get the ink on the paper. And because they're sort of, I don't know, whimsical, I guess would be the term, they're not really very extremely realistic looking flowers and leaves and things. So I feel like I don't need to color them, spend a lot of time coloring them and trying to make them look realistic, because they're not. So they're kind of fun hand-drawn images. So I'm just going to kind of come in and make them look sort of fun and hand-drawn in the coloring as well. The sort of difficult part, and again, it doesn't even matter very much, is sort of telling what's leaves and what's flowers on some of these. So some of these I may be coloring in flower pieces and making them look like leaves. Some of them I may color in as flower pieces when they're supposed to be leaves, but that's okay, because again, they're fun images, and it's all about just sort of getting a little bit of color on it and making them look pretty. That's all. I'm going to come back in with just a touch of the dark Granny Apple Green on a couple of the leaves in here and a little bit sort of around the bottom. Same thing on the second image here. Again, not really spending a lot of time shading or doing anything like that. It's just getting the color on the images. And I think we'll set those aside and use smoky slate, but like basic gray better. So yeah, definitely the smoky slate does work depending on what image you're doing. I kind of mix or hop back and forth between the two depending on whether I want it to be lighter or darker. So that's sort of how it works for me. So hey Roz, glad you're here. No grandkids, so you get to see me live. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. So I don't know if I guess you probably want to spend time with your grandkids, but it probably is nice to have a little break too. So get to do some fun things and not always kid things. And again, just add in, I'm not doing a nice job of coloring, just adding in Flirty Flamingo is the color that I'm using now, and I probably forgot to say that. Flirty Flamingo Stampin' Blends, adding a little bit of color to the flowers. And here's my dark Flirty Flamingo, and just adding, kind of little touches of color here and there with that. And again, still not doing a really fantastic job of coloring. I see there are a couple little pieces that I'm going to have to come back in with Granny Apple Green and color, but that is okay. That's kind of how I do it when I'm coloring these types of images. I think I've got everything colored up well, and then I look and I go, oh, I missed that leaf completely. So, all right, using a light Mango Melody first Stampin' Blends marker to add color to the petals on the larger flowers here. And again, this is the spot where it got a little tricky to tell definitely what's leaves and what's flowers. And I just went with there are more flowers. So that was sort of how I determined whether I should color it as a flower petal or a leaf. And I just thought I should do more flowers and less leaves. And I may have colored it completely wrong. But again, that's okay because nobody else can tell either. Last color that I'm going to put on the flowers is I've got Bermuda Bay here, and I'm just going to use the bullet point, if I can find the right end on the marker, and I'm just going to touch the center of the flowers that I've just colored with the mango to add a little bit of color to those. And then I'm going to come over to the final little set of flowers that have been sitting over here waiting patiently and add a little bit of light Bermuda Bay Again, I probably forgot to say that I was coloring with Bermuda Bay, but just adding a little bit of light Bermuda Bay and then come back in and add a few kind of dashes of dark Bermuda Bay in with it as well. Again, not coloring anything too terribly perfectly. All right, let me set those aside, and then we will work on the kitty next. We're going to use So Saffron for the color, basic color for the kitty. And again, I usually start with the light color first and do the light all over everything, and then come back in with the dark and add the darker tones with it. So Roz is saying that too much babysitting. Yes. Yeah, it's crazy, this, the school thing and not being able to send kids to daycare. And yes, I know all too well because, yeah, I've got 2 school-age ones myself, and so definitely not fun. So, all right, and then coming back in with the light and sort of blending things together on the kitty. Making sure that I have his whole tail covered because it looks like I missed a little spot there on the end. And then the last thing I need to color is the little tiny bird. And I used Pool Party to color him or her. I don't know if it's a him or a her. Make sure I'm using the light one first and just putting the color on the top of the bird with the light Pool Party, and then coming back in with a dark Pool Party and putting a little bit of shading around the edges of it. And then the final color is a little bit of Flirty Flamingo on his the little bird belly, just to add a little bit of different color to him. So him or her, whatever it is. All right, so that's all for the coloring on it. So these images, again, they look a little, nerve-wracking or whatever. Like you might need to do a lot of difficult coloring. Sorry, I forgot my glue dots. Hopefully I don't run out of these. Ooh, I may. You know what? I think I'm going to use Stampin' Seal on the larger images because I'm almost out of glue dots. I have some more in my drawer, but they're not very easy for me to reach and get a hold of. So, all right, using a little Stampin' Seal instead of glue dots, where I would normally use glue dots to adhere the images here to the card front. And hopefully I get everything covered up here that I want to have covered up. Looks like I did it. All right, little Stampin' Seal on this one. But I think I started to say the coloring looks like it's a little complex on this one just because there are lots of little images. But if you kind of just take a deep breath and do like I did and just color and not worry so much about having everything be exact, then it's kind of fun to color these little images. So at least I think it is. All right, I am going to use a little glue dot for the bird just because I find that easier for the little tiny images like that, and put him on top of one of the little fence posts. And then I've got Stampin' Dimensionals here, and we're going to use that for the little kitty. And we'll use 2 of the half ones so I can sort of turn it, hopefully, and get it stuck in the right place. Yep, there we go. Almost had it sticking off the top of his head. Thanks, Sandy. I'm glad that you like it. So it's, it's a sweet, sweet stamp set, and it's one that I haven't used in a little while, but, with the ombre paper, I thought this would be the perfect way to sort of showcase the paper a little bit and show a little different way to use it, that you can use it for grass and like a sky type image. So, all right, that's mostly it for the card front. We just need to stick it onto our Bermuda Bay card base. And again, I use Stampin' Dimensionals to do that. And we're going to add one quick rhinestone to the front, and the card front's going to be all done, and then we just have the inside left to do. So hopefully you all are enjoying your day. We got more snow here yesterday. Good heavens, I'm about done with snow. And it was like another 5 inches, like enough that we had to go and shovel snow and, get out the snowblower and all that stuff. So I was laughing because my husband over the weekend, he's like, I'm doing the final cleanup of the snow, got everything put away, I'm going to run the snowblower out of gas. And I'm like, it's kind of early. I think you're tempting the snow people to send a little more. He's like, no, there's none in the forecast. Yep, there was some in the forecast. So, all right, the last little thing that I added on here on the card front was these are actually technically Coastal Cabana is the color I think they're listed as, but they're from the Holiday Rhinestone Basic Jewels, and I just picked one of those in the shades of blue that I thought coordinated with it. So it was heavy snow and 80 degrees, yeah, sure, Karen. Like I said, we'll talk this summer when you're down there sweating and and we're up here. Okay, we'll be sweating too, so I guess I won't have anything to brag about this summer either. All right, I'm going to use a little basic gray and do some stamping on the panel for the inside of the card. Sorry, I'm like blah blah. And it's just a basic white panel that's cut to 4 by 5 1/4. I'm just going to do a little stamping here with the one image, floral image that I used on the card front. And it looks like we got a decent image there, so I'm going to give it just 1 second while I put everything away to dry before I start immediately coloring. And again, I'm going to be using my Granny Apple Green. Oops, and I realized that I never did color that image in. I said I was going to do it on the card front, and then I forgot. So, all done. All right, again, I'm using the light Granny Apple Green, and we're going to go over the leaves and the kind of grass look images on the bottom. And I'll be coloring the flowers the same colors that I did on the card front, or trying to make them be as similar as I did on the card front. Coming back in with a little bit of dark Granny Apple Green in a few places, just to add a little bit of contrasting color. I may touch those just a second here with my light to drag out some of the color here and make it not look quite so harsh and blotchy. All right, and we got Mango Melody, light and dark, that I'm going to be using for coloring the flowers down here. And again, the flower petals, I should say, the flower centers we're going to do in the Bermuda Bay again. And again, just getting the light color down on the paper first, doing a little scratching over the top of it. And again, not sure whether those are leaves or flowers, but I'm counting them as flowers. So you must have been looking at the same forecast. Yeah, did you put all your things away already? Yeah, I mean, the shovel was still within reach, but he did a lot of grumbling as he pulled the snowblower out from the back of the garage. Had to move the cars around and all that stuff. So then I've got Bermuda Bay, and I'm using the light one in the bullet tip end to add the centers to the flowers. But that's okay, we made it. And like I said, today, quite a bit of it's melting. At least the snow that we got recently is melting. We've still got a whole pile of snow from that first really big snowfall that we had that is still here and with us. So yay, not really. All right, I'm using Flirty Flamingo and adding a little bit of the pink and adding a few of the darker shades back in there with that. And we're all done with the coloring on the inside of the card. So it's super quick and easy. And again, that's why I love these images, just because they're really easy to color. They're small, and because they're hand-drawn, they're the hand-drawn look. You don't have to be really super careful about coloring it and trying to make it look perfect. So, all right, adhering it to the inside of the Bermuda Bay card base with a little bit of Stampin' Seal. And let me grab my bone folder, which I always forget, and give that a quick little crease. And that's it. So those are my cards. So like I said, it's super, super simple. I love, love, love this stamp set. I love the ombre paper. Hopefully you'll get yourself a couple of packs. Again, you can get that for free during Celebration, which is ending on Sunday, with an order of $50 or greater. That's one of your choices. So go take a look at it and get yourself a few packs of it, because you're going to want it and you're going to want to play with it later. And and I know you'll be sad if you miss out. So again, I'll be posting all the details for this on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. And I will share the link in this video up at the top. So if you come back and take a look at the video tomorrow, you'll see the link to the blog post. So if you have questions or want to go back and look at any pictures or cardstock cuts or anything like that, you can definitely go do that. So thanks so much for joining, and I appreciate you being here. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll plan to be back on Friday on my YouTube channel live around 2 o'clock Eastern time. And again, next week, Tuesday, out on Facebook Live. So chat soon.